statement that I would like to be entered into the notes in the record. Her name is Meg Martinez, and she serves as the director of the South Euclid Community Center. As City Council reviewed the 2009 fiscal budget, circumstances surrounding her salary received unfair innuendo from those bent on scoring points for personal vendettas and narrow-minded interests. If one would take a moment to objectively review the proposed budget for 2009, one would see first and foremost Ms. Martinez's salary request, if fully funded, would still place her well below the other department heads, who, by the way, are all men. No offense to the guys. Is council supposed to look the other way when a clear discrepancy exists? Is council not to see the covert acceptance of discrimination desired to be sanctioned by some outside of South Euclid and some inside the city of her salary request? Ms. Martinez's role in the city frequently places her face out in front as representative of our community for others to judge. Her activities and accomplishments are open and available for inspection if one so chooses to take the time to look and not go on hearsay. I find it interesting that a recent letter in the Sun Messenger highlighted the square footage of the community center, implicitly implying that her salary request can be reduced to 6th grade math. However, the same individual who wrote that letter had the arrogant audacity to ask this city, and by proxy council, to pay for his son's participation in recreational activities in an adjacent city. We were elected by the citizens of this city to steward its resources, its direction, and more importantly, its vision as a place that welcomes and beckons all those looking for a community that personifies neighborliness and honesty. Council has many people who constantly challenge and question us. Jakob Lieber and Robert Schoenwald are two that come to mind, and they do so in an open manner and not behind the puppet strings of outsiders who just can't let it go and move on. Yes, these are difficult and trying economic times. There are foreclosures on every street in this city. There are people wondering this very day if they're going to be able to make their mortgage payments and or feed their families. This council is committed to working with this administration and seeing that those families have every opportunity possible to stay in their homes while providing for their families. We will not buckle in the face of cut and paste internet flagellation from those outside the community, nor will we cower in the face of threats, explicit or implied. We will leave the city. The administration and council have worked closely to assure the city's financial stability. While other cities around us are indeed laying off or not hiring, the work of our finance director, Joe Filippo, in concert with the other directors and chiefs, our city is able to hold steady in these times. We don't know, nor can we predict what the city's economic picture will be down the road, but know this: your elected leaders are watching and monitoring the expenditures with all due diligence and oversight. Finally, as someone who has worked with and walked among murderers, rapists, pedophiles, robbers, drug dealers, and those without regard for the humanity of others, I know a threat when it's communicated. As Communications 101 says, it's not how the deliverer of the message intended for his message to be heard, but how the receiver of the message understood it as a foundation for understanding. The individual did clearly and openly communicate a threat to council members. Sitting behind someone, if in fact that person stayed for the entire meeting, allows someone to make a statement about intent from a safe distance. As a trained professional and a researcher in the area of violence, I'm acutely aware of potential warning signs of an individual's potential for aggressive behavior or even worse. And anger and words associated with that anger are indeed warning signs. To insinuate that local officials are buying influence without one shred of evidence questions the integrity of public servants, and it's something that I, for one, will not let pass unnoticed or unchallenged. Narrow agendas, backward thinking, myopic perspectives will not serve the residents of this city. They will not be bamboozled, hoodwinked, or led astray by those whose only question in life is their own personal self-aggrandizement.